Attention aspiring musicians of all levels from all over the world. Want to learn to play guitar or bass like your heroes? Well, I have the guy for you. Multi-instrumentalist Cory Glaeser has played with Fastball, Paula Nelson, Skyrocket, me, and many more. In fact, his song Needle Hits the Groove is our theme song. Cory's been teaching for over 2 decades and is now offering his services all over the world via Zoom. So if you want to learn rock, country, R&B or funk, folk or jazz on guitar or bass, just go to CoryGlaeser.com or follow the link in the text of this podcast and start shredding on guitar or slapping the bass like a pro with Cory Glaeser at CoryGlaeser.com. Let's get down. Gang, we all know Spotify is the best and most popular music streaming app. They have millions of songs by millions of artists available at your fingertips. But did you know that aside from millions of songs, Spotify has thousands of podcasts? Yes, that's right. All of your favorite podcasts are on there, including original podcasts like Wind of Change, Stay Free, The Story of the Clash, and of course, How Did I Get Here is on there. You can find Spotify by going to Spotify.com or download it from your app store. And don't forget to follow How Did I Get Here? That's Spotify. Millions of songs, thousands of podcasts.
And you may ask yourself, well, how did I get here?
It's time for How Did I Get Here? And now here is your host, Johnny.
All right. Hello. I'm Johnny. I'm your host. Welcome to the show. I hope you guys have all had a good weekend. I hope that you're hanging tough, man. I hope you're safe. I hope you're sane. I hope you're doing it right. I had an interesting weekend. Saturday, I was waylaid by allergies, man. They just knocked me out. I'm doing this on Sunday. I'm still a little wiped out. I had to go out and get some Zyrtec. I wasn't ready for this allergy wave. You know, normally I'm taking allergy pills daily, so when it comes, it just kind of comes. Like I might get a little bit more, but this time I was not prepared, and it fucking knocked me down. I played my last weekly live stream for the month, season 3. The season 3 finale on Thursday night. That was a lot of fun. I played some songs I've never played solo acoustic before, and that was a lot of fun because really, like, 2 of my most known songs, I don't really play acoustic. It's kind of weird. Anyway, I did it, and it was fun. I'm going to be doing some more shows this month. But Friday morning, I woke up and went to Houston to visit my grandma and my aunt for the day. Went down there, had a nice Cuban lunch with them. My grandma's doing well. She's going a little. They're both going a little nuts with the thing because they're just hanging out in the house all the time. I mean, imagine just hanging out all the time with one person. I have nobody to hang out with, so it's a little bit different for me. But it's just the 2 of them in the house all the time. My 97-year-old grandmother, my 70-year-old aunt. They're just trying to get along every day, and they're doing a good job, man. They get along great, but they're just getting tired of being there. Anyway. Before I headed down there, I opened my Kindle to see maybe I should see what audiobooks I haven't listened to that I've downloaded before. And I got an Audible subscription a couple years ago, basically because in normal times, I'm traveling around regionally playing shows with Skyrocket. So a lot of times, I'll find I got into audiobooks doing that. Driving and, makes the time pass along. But for the last few months, I haven't even opened my Kindle because I've just been home all the time. So I was like, oh shit, I have 8 Audible credits left. So I looked at what was going on, and I found a great book about the super producer, Ted Templeman. It's called Ted Templeman, A Platinum Producer's Life and Music. Now, he produced the Van Halen records, all the ones with David Lee Roth on it. He produced the Doobie Brothers, all the Doobie Brothers records, produced Nicolette Larson, Van Morrison, all these kind of people. Also was an executive at Warner Brothers throughout that whole time, and also had his own career as an artist in this band Harper's Bazaar. Anyway, fascinating story, super cool dude. If you're a fan of the Doobie Brothers or you're a fan of Van Halen, this book is fantastic. I think I'm going to get the guy that wrote the book with him. He also wrote Van Halen Rising. I'm spacing on his name right now, but I'm going to try to get him on the show. So maybe in the next few weeks, you'll hear from that. Check it out. Ted Templeman, A Platinum Producer's Life and Music. Great life lessons in there. Great lessons in being a cool music guy. And also he's a badass musician. Great stories. Check it out. Ted Templeman, a platinum producer's life and music. Gang, I have a great show for you guys today. A brand new artist named Chelsea Pribble is my guest. She has her debut EP, a 7-song EP, came out in February. It's called Second Movement. It was produced by my dear friend Lars Goransson and came out on Sea Change Records, which was the home of my album El Payaso. So it was great to hear this record. Somebody reached out to me and sent it to me, and I was like, oh my God, this record is absolutely fantastic. It features a lot of dudes that have been on the show, and also fantastic performances by Billy Harvey, Daniel Jones, Derek Morris, Tosca String Quartet. I played with all those people. Fantastic musicians. And this lady, Chelsea, she used to be a dancer, and then she realized that her dreams of dancing with a top ballet company had crumbled. And she'd started piano and ballet at age 5, and she just shifted. She pivoted, and she made this beautiful autobiographical record. Like, if you liked Laura Nyro and those kind of artists, Chelsea Pribble is the artist for you. You can find her at chelseapribble.com. She's got a great story. She's super, super cool, and we have a fantastic conversation. So, without further ado, please enjoy my conversation with this amazing songwriter and singer, Chelsea Pribble. Let's get down.
And after all these years, you still don't know.
Are you here in Austin?
I am, yeah. I'm in the northern area.
The northern quadrant?
Yes.
Yeah. How are you holding up throughout this? What a weird, horrible thing to have to make this beautiful, beautiful record. Jesus. And then all of a sudden, you put it out in February, and then the world stops and then slowly catches on fire.
Yeah, and just keeps blazing.
How are you doing with that? Did you get to play some shows and stuff?
No, I didn't. And I've actually been, since I started recording, I haven't been performing live. I kind of really focused on the recording process. So I was really excited to release and then get back out there. And then this hit, so it's been kind of sad, but it also made me realize that I really do want to get back out to live shows.
Yeah.
Doing that, yeah.
Yeah, unfortunately, we don't have a choice in that right now, do we?
No, not really.
So what have you been doing to, this is a great record, Second Movement. It's an EP, right? We have a lot to talk about, because I'm usually not in a guest's bio. I'm totally in your bio. I'm like in the first paragraph of your bio. Also, there's Johnny. So yeah, I put out a record on Sea Change Records, and then I think I must have killed it in some way that it went dormant. And poor Andrew, and he had a partner then named Steven. Are they still doing it together? No?
No, it's just Andrew now.
Okay.
Yeah. But yeah, your name was one of the first ones he mentioned when we first met, and we were talking a lot about music and artists in the Austin area. So I've always known about you, and then Lars talked about you too a little bit in the studio.
Let me ask you a question. Does Lars do an imitation of me? Because everybody does an imitation of Lars. And then one day someone said, have you heard his imitation of you? And I was like, no. Does he?
So if he did, it was maybe a couple of years ago when we first started working together.
Okay, so you wouldn't remember.
I think it happened maybe once, but I can't remember the impression.
Okay. Do you do a Lars impression?
I try.
You know who's is awesome? Billy Harvey's impression, and he played on your record too. Yeah. Mm-hmm. Did you get to hang out with him? Because he's a joy of a human.
Yeah, we were in the studio a lot together.
Good.
So I love all of them.
Yeah.
To work with.
Yeah, Derek and Daniel on there. Daniel Jones on drums. Derek Morris on the. What did Derek do?
Yeah.
Did he do piano too?
He did a little bit, yeah. We had him in for a couple of, like, the larger chords that I can't play, but I did the right hand a lot. 'Cause it was just complicated up there, so.
Yeah. So, so this record's called Second Movement, which is, I read in your bio, that's a term it's in classical music too, but I guess it's also in ballet, since most ballet is done to classical music.
Yeah, exactly.
And you are a former ballerina, but you still dance.
I still dance, yeah.
Yeah.
Yes, I've been dancing, training in ballet for about 20 plus years. And that's what I ended up studying in college as well.
Where did you go to school?
I went to UT.
And you went there for dance?
Mm-hmm. Yep. Yeah.
Man, the world of dance, man, that's like... Shit, man, like... There's not a lot you can really... There's not like a... You're either at the top or you're not doing it.
Right.
You're doing it with your friends.
Mm-hmm, exactly. Like smaller little
movement theater. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I definitely had envisioned a different path and wanted to get to one of the top companies and could have done it, but I had a little bit of a hip injury right at the end of my college career. And I just finished doing a summer intensive at American Ballet Theater, actually. So it's kind of like on that path, and then had the injury and also some struggles with getting support from my family too, with like financial support to audition and all of that, because it does take a lot of time and money to make it happen.
Yeah, man, it's not like you just wake up one day and just go do it. Mm-hmm. That's like a lifelong training thing. Right. And like a hip injury, that can end it all.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. So... And you have to have like the right physical therapy and rehabilitation to get back on your feet. So I just didn't have all of those resources right then and there when I needed it.
How does that like realization of like just all the work that you have done to just have it go like, all right, well, this isn't going to happen, buddy?
It was definitely devastating, but I think at the time I was kind of in self-preservation mode. So I still kind of held on to this idea that I could make it happen, even though I wasn't really doing what I needed to do to make it happen. And about that time that I was coming to terms with it, that's when I met Andrew, and I was also writing some of these songs that were kind of expressing the loss and the grief from that. And so, yeah, this EP kind of was the realization that career path was over.
So the second, therein lies the name, the Second Movement.
Yes. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. Are you, I mean, like, were you, like, in college, were you playing piano and doing stuff? And did you play places? Did you, even before you stopped dancing?
Yeah, I think those things were kind of intersecting in college a lot for me. So I had started songwriting my freshman year, my first year of school, and I bought a guitar and started messing around with that, learning a few chords, and then I took it to some songwriting competitions at the Cactus Cafe, and I hadn't had a keyboard or a piano yet, but that was mostly my music training when I was younger was in piano. So I was trying to do everything with the guitar, which made it harder. But
sometimes taking away, like, for instance, I'm a songwriter too. A lot of times when I get bored, I go find something I don't play. Like, I write songs, I'm programming a drum machine and a bass and play bass. Because it's out of my wheelhouse, and I'm not going to be able to do the things I normally do.
Yeah, no, that's very true. And I think that's why I was writing more kind of, I guess, jazz and like bluesy stuff, because it would just, and maybe folk too. I think there was definitely some folk influences in there, but that, and then when I got back to the piano, I think I started kind of leaning back towards my roots of the classical music style or genre.
Right. Who's your piano singing person? Like, who's your idol of piano singing?
Oh gosh. So actually,
I'm terrible with sentences. That's why I have a talk show. So.
I am too. It's fine. I think probably my biggest idol growing up is this singer in this band called Over the Rhine. They're from Ohio, and at the time I was living in Ohio in high school, and so that was the first concert I saw. But she had this really beautiful jazz, warm vocals, and then I think also Rachel Yamagata. I don't know if you know her.
I've heard that name. I've never heard her.
I mean, they're all less classical, but they definitely have piano-driven
right
music, and then kind of these really warm vocals, I guess.
Right.
So those are probably the two biggest influences that are more songwriter-based.
Right. When I heard you, I immediately thought of Laura Nero.
I don't think I've heard of her. Yeah.
She's like this person that people don't really know.
Yeah.
And she's since passed on, but she's this, she wrote hits for other people, but then had like her own record deal and put out records. But like her records, like influenced like Todd Rundgren, Daryl Hall. There's like a whole era of Daryl Hall songwriting in the early 70s and Todd Rundgren. And even there's a few like Elton John ones where they are just totally ripping her off. Like 100%. Yeah, you should check her out. She's a very interesting songwriter, and I find like what I heard, what I found the kinship with her wasn't that you sounded like her, was that you didn't sound like anybody else. It wasn't like a Tori Amos or I'm trying to think of somebody like, you know.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Thank you.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, I know.
Yeah, you have your own it seems like you have developed, you know what I mean? Like, I don't know how much playing you've done. You're a young person, but you seem to have a focus that most people your age don't have, this sort of like connection with their own identity. You know who you are.
Yeah, no, I know. Yeah. I've definitely done some digging. Spent a lot of time alone, so I think that's probably a part of it.
Have you been alone through the last, whatever this is called, the horrible time?
The death. I don't know.
Shit world is, I think, what I'll call it.
It's a good name for it.
Yeah.
I have a roommate, so that's actually been probably a good thing for me, because I am introverted and I will crawl up in a hole and stay there for a while. So I have her, and then I also have some work that I go do. So I've had to go back and forth from that a little bit, and I get some interaction with coworkers and people there.
That's good.
So,
yeah, it's good to stay sane.
Yeah.
I'm actually going. I'm like hosting this thing tonight. It's like at a place. It's going to be like a 10th full or whatever, but it's also live stream. But it's a jazz thing. Have you ever heard of this guy? Now I'm drawing a blank on his name. Of course, I'm going to go do this interview with this dude that has like 11 Grammys. Bobby Sparks.
Bobby Sparks.
Bobby Sparks. He's a jazz guy. He's done stuff with everyone from like Prince to Marcus Miller to. Okay. So, were you brought up in jazz? Like, you started playing piano when you were 5, and dancing at the same time. So, were they both? Was it classical? Was it like full-on piano training?
Yeah, it was. I got a little bit of music theory when I was at that age, but it was definitely more like hot cross buns level. I didn't really ever get that far to define it as a genre. So, but the ballet world was obviously very all classical. But but I only took lessons until I was about 10.
Piano?
I think. Yeah, piano lessons until I was 10.
And so then you just focused on dance.
Yeah, mostly, yeah.
So what were you like listening to musically? Like what, like...
Yeah. I mean, it was kind of a wide array of things, but I think probably the jazz influence comes from Nora Jones too, because we listened to her a lot. We listened to, and this was moving around a lot, so there were a lot of car trips where we'd like in these CDs that my grandpa made for us that had like oldies on them and like a mix of genres, like Buddy Holly and Patsy Cline. Walking After Midnight, it's one of my favorite songs of hers. So yeah, I think probably listening to kind of the oldies music that my grandpa shared with us a lot. And then a little bit of Etta James and Aretha Franklin and all the like big female singers too. Yeah.
I do like that your songs are great and you're a great songwriter without having to structure box yourself. That's one of the things that drives me nuts about as a songwriter is that I'm so the structure of those songs that you're talking about, the Buddy Holly, all the way up to like Tom Petty, these guys that they deal in this song structure that doesn't really vary. There's like intro, verse, chorus, bridge, solo, or third verse, chorus out. We're done. You don't really need to be in that zone. And how are you? No one told you to. It's just awesome because you were lucky to fall in with people that weren't trying to push you into a box. They nurtured who you were and let your voice shine free, from what it sounds like to me.
That's definitely the case. And I think that has a lot to do with Lars and Andrew really supporting me and that when I came to the studio for the first time with those songs. But I think probably because of my lack of music training, I hadn't really ever focused on what structures of songs actually are.
Right.
So it was more just feeling when I was writing, and whether I was writing the poem first and then putting it to music or doing it at the same time, I wasn't really thinking about the standard structures that you find like in pop and other styles of music. So I think that's probably why it ended up that way.
How do you write? You write diligently? Like, do you have a wake up and I'm gonna do this, or you know what I mean? Like, there are people that do it every morning when they wake up. I've been like that, but I go in and out. I'm not that disciplined.
I'm pretty sporadic, I think, with my songwriting. So I definitely don't at this point have like I wake up in the morning and do it every morning. I kind of just do it when I feel like it and when the time is right, when nobody's at home, or I can go to the First Street studio, which is a dance studio which has a grand piano in there, and so I have the whole place to myself, and I like being alone for that usually, and we'll set aside time on the weekends to do that. But yeah, it's usually when if I'm feeling like, and COVID has brought that out a lot, if I'm feeling really emotional or overwhelmed, that's when I go to the piano and start writing and playing.
So you grew up living in a lot of different places, like you mentioned Ohio, and you also lived in Round Rock, and then somewhere. I thought it was actually Warsaw when I read it, but it was Indiana.
Indiana, yeah, not as exciting as Poland, yeah.
So what was going on that you were moving around so much? Were your parents like? What was going on? What was your family like? Were your parents together? You have brothers and sisters?
Yeah, I have an older brother. And then my parents are together and we're together, but my dad, they both grew up in poverty, and I think that once my dad started working and getting opportunities, they wanted to explore the world, and so that's why every time he'd get like a job offer or like step up or something, we would end up moving. So it was all over the place, but yeah.
I have a feeling he sold your mom that Warsaw, Indiana by not saying Indiana after it.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
He showed up, and suddenly there were just cornfields and...
So what did you grow up like? I mean, to do ballet and to do piano, that's not like a poor people's.
Right.
That's not really the. I mean, that's a little more. So did your parents like work their way out of that
whole
poverty and
Yeah, they definitely did, and I would say we were kind of more middle class, so it wasn't like we could afford everything all at once, which is why I ended up choosing. At some point, I ended up choosing dance over everything else. But I also lucked out, and when we moved to Ohio, there was an art school, like performing and visual arts school within a public school. So it didn't cost any money, getting like a very arts focused education without having to spend all that money on lessons and that.
What a tremendous thing. What was that like going to that school?
I mean, it was perfect for me. It was really great. Very small within like a larger school, and I was actually like, I dipped my toes in like every like theater and visual art. And choir.
And they encourage that in those schools, right?
Yeah.
My only experience was that I there's one in Houston, HSPVA. It's a famous one.
Yeah.
I did not get in, and then they were like no, and then I saw the movie Fame a bunch of times. I don't know if you ever saw that.
Oh, definitely.
Do kids break out into song like in the lunchroom?
Yeah.
They do. Yeah. Well, maybe it's better I didn't go.
Might have been. It was,
Well, it's funny because there's a certain dynamic that happens at that age. And there's a thing with creative people, like someone that grew up like dancing, and I'm sure you say you were introverted. I had extroverted things, but I did become introverted. And then I wonder what the path is if I would have fought as hard for myself to be a musician had I not always felt like an outsider in the place I was in. You know what I'm saying? As opposed to like going in and having my people.
Yeah, no, that's true.
You know what I mean?
True.
Like I wonder what the struggle does to you. If it makes you just angrier or meaner or what?
I think at least for me, it's always fueled my songwriting, but I don't know what, I mean, I was like in a group, but I still felt kind of, different or shy or whatever.
Yeah.
So there was that feeling. Yeah.
Have you ever had a band?
I have. It was quite the time back in the day. I think it was.
What's back in the day? You're like 24 or what? Like, back in the 2010s, man. You should have been there. It was crazy. 2015. Like, I think my podcast is older than you.
I noticed that. Yeah, I was doing some research.
Hey.
Just kidding. I think it was like 4 years ago now that I had a 5-piece jazz band called Little Red and the Riffs.
Okay.
So that was a lot of fun.
So where did you play?
We toured the Austin area.
Well, this town isn't like a jazz town. Tonight, the thing I'm hosting is a jazz thing, but it's in Smithville. Yeah.
Oh, it's in Smithville.
But they have like the Elephant Room, and then like I don't really know where else jazz happens.
So I mean, we played at Sahara Lounge.
Okay.
Eileen was really sweet and gave us a lot of shows. And then Rattle Inn, and we did get into Stay Gold once.
Oh, that's cool. Rattle Inn seems like an odd place to see jazz.
Yeah, that was very bizarre. And I think it's because we integrated like some Bonnie Raitt covers and stuff like that. So I don't know if that's why. They asked us to come back a few times. So
that's good. I mean, they probably
it was
recognize. It's funny because the guy, like one of the owners of that place is Ray Benson from Asleep at the Wheel, who's like, you know, this very famous country band for so many years. But their thing is that sort of whatever that is Bob Wills did, like the extremely expensive chords, like jazz chords structured with fiddles and stuff, which is weird.
Yeah.
So, so do you have a band now? Like, is this your band? The band from the record?
No, actually, it's not. Those guys that I played with were from UT, the music program from UT. So I'd like met them through people that I knew, and now they're off doing really great things. Ed Clifford was my drummer, and I think he's playing for White Denim now. Is that their name? Yeah, and they tour and stuff like that nationally, I think. So
they've been on the show.
They're really busy. Yeah. Oh, cool.
Yeah.
That's awesome. So I just had session players for my record, and that's why I feel ready to perform, but I need to find people that are willing to play with me. Yeah. So
I do a Daniel Jones.
Do you? Let's hear it.
Okay. Johnny, dude. Right?
That's it. I have a really great video from the studio of him and Lars and me. I'm like sitting at the piano, and he's like, and it's like, you know, I'm just like doing like this air drumming thing, and Lars is like, it has to be unhinged. I can't do him very well.
I'm glad I got you to do it though, and it's recorded. I'm just gonna take this excerpt out and send it to him. Yeah, all of these people are like Derek Morris is one of my favorite human beings. Billy Harvey. I was on a tour in 2004 in a band that was opening for a band they were in, and so I got to spend a good month with those guys on a daily basis, which was pretty phenomenal. Yeah. So let's talk more about music, man. So what's your inspiration musically? Like, what do you listen to?
I listen to a lot of different things. I'm going to pull up my Spotify, but I really I've been kind of throwing it back lately and listening to some like old Feist records.
Oh, yeah.
I love her in general. She's amazing. She's been one of my bigger influences. I like The Swell Season.
So you never gravitated as a singer to like the Christina Aguilera, like watch everything I can do in 12 seconds kind of singing. There
definitely was a period.
The hand
I would
singing?
say it was probably about I was probably about 11. I do remember having a Christina Aguilera documentary or something. It was like a documentary about her, and I thought that was cool. You know, I admired her singing.
Yeah.
But I think after that, my brother was probably a big part of that because he was in college when I was in high school, and there was this big like indie scene happening in Columbus, Ohio, where he was going to school.
Oh,
and
yeah.
So those were my first, like influences in live music. He took me to concerts and stuff like that. And
Did he go to Ohio State?
Yeah.
Oh, fantastic, man.
Yeah.
What a great place that is, man.
It is. Yeah. It was really good. Really
Columbus
good
is fantastic.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
All right. So as far as a band now, and as far as like what do you got? I'm still I'm frustrated for you because I feel like you worked really, really hard, and then all of a sudden they did this thing to you.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And
it's been hard. It's been frustrating for sure. But I've been focusing on more songwriting right now while I have this time. So I think that's been a positive out of it.
Have you gotten into the live streaming?
I'm a little shy because if I have to play by myself, I'm actually my keyboard right now. But if I have to play by myself, I get a little nervous.
Sure.
Yeah. So that's why I think it'd be better to start out at least with someone that has a little bit more of a handle on the keys, and then I can maybe get warmed up again with live shows and then start to perform with the piano too. So
you're able to do this stuff. You have a publicist that's working with you, which is good.
Yeah.
And and Andrew, I'm glad. I really, those guys, and Andrew especially. Like I feel like it's a very human guy in the music business. They're very hard to come across. Like, he's not a guy that's out to like take a bunch of shit from you and run off. No. Is he still in amazing shape?
Oh yeah, of course.
I haven't seen him in years. I'm always scared like I'm gonna run into him and he's gonna be like this fat guy I don't even recognize. Like,
no. He takes very good care of himself, very into healthy eating and working out. And
he used to have this Sunday thing where he would go and eat like an entire pizza.
Yeah, or a cake. I've heard the stories. Yeah.
I think that's pretty awesome.
Like cheat day on the weekend.
Cheat day. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
What do you do anything physical to sort of like keep your mind together and to keep yourself flexible? Do you dance a lot?
I dance a lot. I still, because I want to do some dance videos with the music still, I still train myself, or I do strength conditioning at this. I work at a fitness facility in marketing. And
cool.
I actually have access to a personal trainer who just gives me free training. So we do like some strength training a couple times a week, and then I dance, do some ballet classes. I teach a little bit of ballet virtually right now. So,
well, I do. I have to say it's pretty. Like your promo photos are so cool. Like no one's. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
No one's promo photos are they doing something that you're like, how's she doing that?
Thank you.
Yeah.
Yeah. I get excited about being able to integrate that and visually with photos, and then also with videos too.
Yeah, with the video, video for Overgrown is really beautiful. Were you doing? Where did you do that? How did you do that?
I can't even remember the place. I know where it is. It's in Bee Cave area.
Okay.
There's like a field out there, and it's near Carson Ranch. That's what it's called. There's like a green belt that you can walk out.
Okay.
Into. Yeah. So, but it was.
Who shot that for you?
There's this photographer and videographer named Laura Morseman. And so she knows Andrew through the wedding venue that he works at. And she does mostly like wedding photography and stuff, but she just happened to be available to.
Oh, awesome.
This, yeah. So.
I need to reach out to Andrew. Yeah. Those guys are real nice. They even gave me my album back. They were like, "Hey, man, you want your album back?" And they just gave it back to me. And they did let me do whatever I wanted.
Yeah.
And we're actually like, when Lars brought up bringing in Tosca on my record, I was like, I don't know, dude. And he called them. They were like, "Oh yeah, no problem. Let's go in there."
Wow.
Yeah.
Yeah.
How'd you like working with them? I love them.
They were really cool.
Yeah.
And I was really excited to sit in on that recording process and see how it even worked.
Oh, isn't that awesome?
Yeah.
You know what's funny is I remember. Well, I've been friends with Sarah. I've been friends with all of them for a long time, like 20 years.
Wow.
Easily. And I'm in this band Skyrocket. We did these ELO, Electric Light Orchestra, that band. Yeah. We did these shows in tribute to them. And so I've actually done a show with Tosca at a roller rink. That's not something everyone can say.
No, that's not.
I played a roller rink with those ladies.
That's so cool.
What else? So what are you writing? You record your stuff on your own? Do you do demos on your own?
Yeah, I try to. I do it from my phone, and it turns out fine. So for now, but yeah. I've been writing for this new record concept that I have, and Andrew and I have already talked about working together again potentially with Lars again too. So.
Yeah, they got to give you, this record needs to have some kind of chance. This is a really, You're a very special artist. Like, there's not a lot of people that come along like you with the level of uniqueness and goodness. Like, sometimes some people are unique and it's just not very good, the uniqueness. But
Yeah.
just the fact that you are such a fully realized artist, you know?
Thank you.
Yeah.
I appreciate that.
Yeah, I know that you know, I'm like I was like in my early 50s, and there's a thing about people my age that are like, oh, that person didn't pay their dues. You know, she didn't slug it out on 6th Street for 15 years before someone came to her show. So,
Yeah.
I mean, to me, those things don't really need. I mean, it's just a matter of like, some people do need that. They do need that kind of thing. Some people get who they are, and they are that person.
Yeah.
Have you heard this record? Have you heard Z Berg?
Z,
Berg? Like the letter Z?
Oh, Z.
Yeah.
No. Mm-mm.
She's the daughter of this incredible producer named Tony Berg, but I think you might like her record a lot.
Okay.
It's really beautiful, and she's you know, she seems like she's from your same family tree as an artist.
Yeah.
So Norah Jones, I know she's good.
Yeah. I think so. Interestingly, I think that like a lot of the music I listened to when I was younger, around that age, was mostly influenced by what my parents were listening to,
Sure.
and so they're like a little more just anything that is, I guess, mainstream or like available to them. They don't really dig for it.
Sure.
So I think that's why. Yeah, I was like, oh, my dad loved her, and you know, and that's when I was like, I want my dad to like my music. And so it was kind of like this admiration from that angle, I think. So
How do you get along with them? Because earlier you said that they didn't want to financially support some of your lofty endeavors there, which I totally understand. That's happened to me before.
Yeah, I get that too. There's a lot more there, but I'm actually, it's hard to talk about, but I'm currently
look, if you don't feel comfortable, it's totally okay. But to me, all this shit informs everyone's art completely.
No, it does. Yeah. And it's in the record too. You can maybe pick up on it, but yeah, basically we're estranged right now. So
I'm sorry about that. That's tough.
Yeah, it's tough.
Yeah. Well,
it definitely fuels my what I write too. So
it's interesting. And do they live here or do they live in another place?
They just moved here from North Carolina, so they are in Texas. Yeah.
All right. Well, I think it's cool that you're able to stand on your own and find your own way.
Yeah, I think that's been a big piece of the puzzle too, in terms of finding my identity through music too. So,
how do you feel about this record?
I mean, I honestly feel really proud of it, and I feel like it captures me. Like I feel like it's a piece of me. So I think that's all I can really ask for and step away from, and you know, feel good about that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Do you like writing on guitar? Do you write different stuff when you write on guitar?
I do. Yeah. It turns out, like I said, a little bit more jazzy. And there were actually 2 songs that I'd written on guitar that we recorded in the studio that aren't on this EP. But we're saving them for the next one. So it'll probably venture a little bit more into that realm, but still very much, you know, the core of what this is too. This EP sounds like.
Yeah, man, I'm very like when you play live. Are you gonna be like in support of this music? Are you do you sit and play piano, or do you get up and move?
That's a good question.
That is, isn't it?
Yeah, that's something I'm going to have to discover, because I'm not sure. I really don't know. I want rehearsal opportunities to figure that out. But, yeah. Any thoughts?
Well, I mean, to me, all of that stuff is so important to what you do that it
Yeah.
seems kind of like if you wanted to do a half and half kind of show, that would make sense, except for that you'd need another person, which
Yeah.
would be another paycheck,
Yeah, exactly.
you know. And I know it's tough to be your own artist and have to pay a band. It's nowhere near as cool as like when you're a kid and you just have a band and everybody chips in for rehearsal space and all that stuff, you know?
Yeah, definitely.
Well, yeah. So you're writing songs. Do you have plans to go back into the studio anytime soon, or?
Not official plans, but Andrew and I have talked a lot about the concept for this upcoming record, and I mean, all the songs are written; they're ready to go. And
What's the concept? Do you mind sharing that with me?
no, not at all. It's so the album title is "I Wasn't Born This Way," and
It's like
it's
an
gonna-
against Lady Gaga. That's the concept.
No, yeah. And it'll be kind of like a deeper dive into the impacts of childhood trauma and like what I've gone through, but less cerebral. It's just feeling based again. But all the songs kind of center around that concept. So,
All right.
yeah,
Have you gone through some therapy?
absolutely.
Yeah. That's good.
Yeah, no, that is good.
Me too.
I do. Good.
Yeah.
Good.
Yeah.
I think it's good for everybody.
Especially people that are crazy. Well, people that have lived through, I mean, I lived through trauma. I don't know what all you know about me, but it's very, very well known. Like when I was a
Yeah.
teenager, my mom was murdered in the
Oh,
house
yeah.
where we lived. And just, you know, general life trauma. But like there are these things that that inform who we are as people. They determine our artistic drive. They determine, you know what I mean? They determine the depth with which we express things. So maybe my connection with you, while I don't know exactly what these songs are particularly about, I feel the depth of it coming from somewhere and somebody working it out.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Which to me is the most amazing because it's like cathartic. Like, did you feel relieved when you came out of those songs like you did after like a good therapy session?
Yeah, I do. Every time I feel that sense of catharsis. So, yeah, that's what I think that's what writing music is for me at this point in my life.
Do you ever venture in writing outside of that stuff?
Yeah, I think that's kind of what Little Red and the Riffs was about. The band, it was definitely more like, oh, let's put on a good show, try to, and I wrote things that were kind of like fun and more, I don't know, yeah, just like about general things, I think. So, and that is fun. I really miss those songs actually, and I think I'd love to put that out someday as an actual record. But yeah.
Do you have how do your relationships work out okay?
My like romantic.
Mine don't.
No, not yet.
Okay. Yeah, mine neither. I guess not yet is right? Or else we would be with one person for a while.
Right.
Yeah.
Exactly. Yeah.
Not just some dude at his apartment.
Right. Yeah. We'll see.
Yeah. Do you I mean this is a question I would ask anyone. It's not in a sexist way that I'm asking a woman, but
Oh, yeah.
Is it difficult in relationships because there's that dynamic, like when you're a dude in a band, you get all these chicks. That's the math. But when you're a girl in a band, that's not the same thing.
Yeah.
And I think sometimes it has to do with males having a difficult thing with being with somebody who, like, socially, excuse the phrase, has a bigger dick. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Yep. Totally.
That was so offensive. I'm sorry. I'm just looking at your, like, nice, innocent face, and I just said that.
No, there's nothing innocent here. I promise. But yeah, I haven't experienced that, like, in my past relationship, it was really supportive, and it
Okay.
didn't feel that way.
Yeah.
But I have, and especially I've dated, like, maybe other musicians briefly, where I've felt that a little bit.
Oh, yeah.
And then, yeah. And it's probably my earlier relationship in my early to mid 20s, I felt a little bit of that, like, or there just wasn't that connection
Right.
to it either. It was
Right.
just like, yeah.
Yeah. There's also that weird Star is Born thing. You know what I mean?
Yeah, exactly.
I've never interspecies dated. I've never gone out with like a musician person.
I wouldn't recommend it. I mean,
I wouldn't either. I'm like, I don't need another one of me. I need like a person who's nice.
I don't think I'll go back there. Yeah, it's not something I look for now, or it's something I definitely kind of good. Yeah.
Well, it's
Just
good that you're
avoid
good
it.
with yourself and that you're able to explore these things and bring them out.
Yeah.
Musically, and also so clearly and so eloquently. Like you're a great songwriter, and I'm moved by this EP. I wish there was more than 7 songs. When do you think you're going to put out this next thing?
If I had to guess, it'd probably be. I think the recording process will be more quick this time, just because
Right.
it was all new.
You're not
to me.
inventing you.
Yeah.
Right.
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 Exactly. So I'm hoping maybe like a year and a half. That might be optimistic.
That sounds like a long time, doesn't it?
It does sound like a long time. I'm just thinking about the money aspect of it, because Andrew wants to do that. That's the one that takes a while. I guess I could look into grants too. I need to do that because I'm sure that would potentially help. Yeah.
Yeah. Cool. I'm sure there's a lot of stuff to talk about.
Mm-hmm.
And I'd like to have you on again. I'd like to come see you play. And it's been a real pleasure meeting you and talking to you. Everyone can get out and listen to Second Movement. It's out there wherever you stream and download your jams. Produced by my dear, dear friend Lars Goransson. My dear, dear friend Billy Harvey. They're all my friends. Daniel Jones, Derek Morris, Tosca String Quartet. On Sea Change Records, my alma mater. Yeah. This has been great talking to you. People can find you at chelseapribble.com. They can see the video for Overgrown. And yeah, you're going to have to keep on doing stuff because I want new stuff from you. So you got to find a way to sort of like give something to your fan, which is me.
Yeah.
No. Give something to all your fans. But give something to your fan.
Yeah, I'm glad to have a fan in you.
Thank
I really
you.
appreciate it.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Yeah, tell Andrew I said hi. And
I will.
and I think about him fondly all the time. He's a nice man. And good luck with everything. And definitely stay in touch.
I will.
All right.
Thank you for
Hang on.
having me.
You slip beneath my feet.
Chelsea Pribble, her EP, Second Movement, available now on Sea Change Records, produced by my dear friend Lars Goransson. You can find her at chelseapribble.com. What a great record, man. Tosca String Quartet, Billy Harvey on guitar and bass, Daniel Jones on drums, Derek Morris on keyboards, and of course the great Chelsea Pribble. Beautiful songs, gorgeous music. Get out there and check out this gorgeous EP. chelseapribble.com. And hey, gang, don't forget, while you're out there checking out chelseapribble.com, don't forget that you can subscribe to this podcast wherever it is you find podcasts, be it Spotify, Apple Podcasts, TuneIn, Overcast, anywhere, Stitcher, new shows all the time, all right? Please enjoy the rest of this song from the great Chelsea Pribble. Amazing artist. Find her at chelseapribble.com. Let's get down.